I want to start this video with a little bit of a Buddhist wisdom. He understood that suffering comes from not living in the moment, from the anxiety of what the future might bring, or the regrets or guilt of what the past was. And once we start living in the moment, those things disappear and we'll find peace. The suffering will go away. The regret, the feeling of inadequacy, the shame, the worry, the fear. So I want to start there, realizing that the mind and its projections forward or backward in time is where suffering comes from. There's a lot, and there's more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. But what that's going to lead to, what if the Garden of Eden was inside of us at all times? It was the perfect creation that God made in us. And I'm not talking a religious God, so, don't get hung up on religion or who's right or who's wrong, because that's all a problem anyway. It's a problem of the ego, which is also the problem with this. What if the Garden of Eden was the peace we find within us, the existence we have that is us, and the tree of knowledge that we weren't supposed to eat from was letting our minds take control, letting our ego become who we are, letting those things overrule what the instincts in our nature are. What if by eating from the tree of knowledge, not wisdom, the tree of knowledge, we put ourselves in this position where our mind is now in control. We're anxious about what comes next because we lost our trust. We're regretful and full of shame in our nakedness because of how we saw our past, what we saw we did, what we judged ourselves to be. And so all of a sudden the mind is taking over. And that tree of knowledge, we took a bite, meaning we accepted it. We took it into us. We agreed that the ego and the mind can control our lives, that was more important than what the instincts were, what the trust was, what the perfection in the creation of who we were is. And I'm talking long before religion, long before the lie of our body being full of sin. And I'm not talking about any other stories in the Bible, just literally the Garden of Eden. What if it's all metaphorical? What if the Garden of Eden was us? We are in the Garden of Eden, but we are also the garden itself. We are one with God. God is in us and we're also in God. And the Garden of Eden was that peace we had, that trust, that understanding that everything was here for us. And when we took knowledge to be more important, when we figured that was our answers, is when we moved ourselves out of the Garden of Eden into what the Buddha would have called suffering. These stories line up. There's a lot more of them out there too. And the message is very similar, at least enough to the point of not realizing our mind is just a tool. It's not who we are. Our ego is ridiculously controlling because our subconscious and our nature is easygoing and quiet and peaceful. And you need to look for it. You need to look around at it. You need to see the beauty. You need to stop in the moment, be in the moment, be in right now and find it. And when you can get there, you eliminate the suffering and you go back to the Garden of Eden. Take the religious out of it. Take the necessary pictures in your head of what the Garden of Eden should have been. And just realize that maybe that's what is in us. And this tree of knowledge, it's not that we can't be aware of how things work and how smart things are, but the ego and the forecasting into the future based on a past is where the Garden of Eden is lost, where suffering is found.